hindsight, looking at the game tape, sending Cairo back out for the 53-yarder, any thoughts now, maybe punt, do something else to try and attack that differently?
Like, meaning if I knew he was going to miss the kick?
Well, considering that he'd had the struggles already in the game.
No, I think, the biggest thing that you have to do is you have to understand that we all have a job to do, and you have to coach and you have to play the game, I think, with that idea in mind, and that you're playing the situations. And again, I thought that he kicked a good one earlier that we did not protect very well, and I felt like he put a good swing on it, which would have been good. We were soft inside, and so in thinking that, I was looking at him and felt confident that he'd go out there and make it. I mean, we don't have the luxury of having hindsight and dealing with those types of things. We all make decisions through the course of the game, players and coaches. And again, we just have to try to do the best job that we can to make the right decision.
Do you weigh analytics into that decision at that time? Do you have a numbers guy telling you this percentage to go for it on fourth and this percentage to make the field goal?
Yeah, we know those numbers. We're very aware of what those numbers are, and that I think in the NFL, we all expect field goal kickers to make 53-yard field goals. I watch all the games just like you guys do. Coach puts a guy out there, he makes a 50-yarder. Right? And I think that that's part of the pro football. And, where you're at as far as, fourth and sixth, you could kind of see where we are on third and six and figure it out where our percentage would be on fourth and six. So does that help you with the analytics? I think we were 3 of 14 on third down yesterday or whatever we were. I think that's whatever percentage, and we didn't do very well on field goals, so that was the percentage there. I think we got to do better. We got to do better special teams. We got to do better defensively in some of those critical situations. And certainly we have to do a better job of stringing consecutive positive plays together on offense. I mean, we had them, but there were too few and far between to get anything going. I mean, we have 3 plays in a row that get us down there, and we talk about fighting through the fringe, and then we stall for whatever reason, an execution or a penalty. And there were positives, too many negatives. But when we talk about the keys each week, and we told the guys that, hey, when the Bills get down there, they're 5 touchdowns and only 7 trips. The offense hadn't gotten down there that much, but when they got down there, they have some pretty good scheme plays, and as you can see, that was really the case again yesterday. They didn't get down there that much, but when they did, they got us on a couple play passes.
You stuck with him and it bit you. You stuck with Adoree for a long time and it bit you. Where's the line where you give up on a guy and seek an alternative or take a different approach?
Well, we only have one kicker, so we're trying to execute the game and score points there. Adoree was our punt returner. I mean, that's what he was drafted here to do. He was drafted to play corner and return punts. And so, again, we have to be, accountable for our actions, both mine, the coaches, the players. We have to improve. We have to do things that help them improve, and then make decisions on who gives us the best chance.
Will you be looking at kickers tomorrow?
I think John and I are going to meet here at 12 o'clock, go through the roster like we do, go through injuries, and we'll talk about that, and we'll decide there.
Do you think it was a technique issue with Cairo or a confidence issue at the end, or when you look back at the kicks, where do you think the problems were?
I've done a lot of things. I've played a lot of different positions, but kicker's not one of them. So however they go in, all the swings look different. As long as they go through the middle, that's the most important thing. That's all we care about.
They're obviously very talented.
The touchdown, Mike, at some point was a possibility of a punt thought of as well, where you could pin
Every situation, there's possibilities for different things. We can come back and say we could punt it. We could go for it. Again, there's a lot of different situations and possibilities for. We could have ran it. We could have ran the ball. We could have played zone instead of man on 3rd and 4, but we decided to play man, and they got a conversion. We could have blitzed, or we could. There's a lot of things that we could have done, but we made a call and we went out and tried to execute it. Didn't do a good enough job of it.
They're obviously very talented up front, Buffalo, but how much of Taylor and Roger not having live reps together maybe affect their?
You know, my hope is that there was a lot of training camp reps and that, you know, guys that we, you know, feel like, you know, need to do their job have to probably do it better going forward.
Talk about accountability for actions with Saffold, who has probably had a lot of plays that he'd like back early in the season. How long can you keep going with that in hopes that he'll be the player you paid him to come in and be?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you do. You know, that's what you do in the league. You make decisions, and there's been a lot of good football, and sometimes there's been plays that he's like to have back, and I got to find out, and we have to find out if that's, you know, lapses in focus, concentration, not getting the snap count, not getting off on the ball. A lot of times when you watch offensive linemen, even if you look at Nate or Roger inside, when they're getting off on the football, on the snap, you know, they're getting in their guy. Sometimes in pass protection, if you're a step late, they're getting into your chest. And so, you know, we have to find out where that lapses are coming from and what's causing it, because, you know, we need to fix it. We have to help our quarterback. We have to improve in a lot of phases.
But how long can you go on with the we need to fix it before it becomes too late and then you have to make a decision to fix it?
Well, right, you know, we feel like he's one of our obviously best 5 linemen. And so, you know, we have to find ways to fix it. And to this point, up until, you know, again, there's been a lot of good things. And yesterday, you know, there were some plays that we'd like to have back in pass protection.
He said yesterday that inconsistency's been a problem around here for a long time, which seemed awfully tone deaf to the idea that he was paid big money to come in here and help solve that issue. Would you like a guy who's making huge money to come in and help solve a long-standing problem with the team, say, hey, I'm here to fix that, rather than saying, hey, that's been a problem here for a long time?
I would like all our players, regardless of what they make, to do their job and improve. That's what I would like them to do.
You said yesterday that the result of the game is not going to change how you guys approach this week, but when the same mistakes keep repeating and the same situations keep repeating, does there come a point where you do need to change how you approach things?
Let's talk specifics as far as situations, and I'll maybe walk you through some of those.
Okay, the pass protection problems. It's been, for the last 2 weeks, the same 5 guys for the majority of the time. Does there come a point where you change that?
Well, yesterday and the last couple of weeks, we've got Taylor back yesterday, Nate, Ben's our center. Now we have an opportunity to look and evaluate and see if Dennis can help us, you know, and then try to fix it and try to get the ball out when we have to and run better routes. And there's a lot of times where the protection breakdown is there. There's a lot of times, not a lot of times, there's times where that happens. There's times where the quarterback doesn't get rid of the football. And there's times where, you know, we have to get open sooner. So there's a lot of different things involved. But I think now, you know, we can certainly look at doing some of those things. But up until a couple weeks ago, we had, you know, some moving parts and we had some injuries. And we get Taylor back and we got to get him going. He's got to play better. And they all do. And we have to coach and play better. But, you know, we'll try to look at a lot of different things.
Do you think top to bottom, do you think that you guys respond well after wins?
You know, I'm not really sure how we respond. I know we come in here and we practice and we prepare and we move on to the next opponent. That's always been my, you know, singular focus. It'll be to get these things corrected as soon as we possibly can and to get on to Denver. Because we can't change the outcome of yesterday. We can only hope to change and fix, you know, some of the performance and some of the execution. So you know, we don't dwell on a whole lot on wins very long. And we got to do the same thing, unfortunately, after a loss.
Do you think you coach too emotionally at times? You said after the Atlanta, when you went for it the day after, in hindsight, that you should have kicked it to get the 3-score lead. Yesterday, it seems like it would have been a wiser decision to have gone for it when you're sending on a kicker who struggled all day. Are emotions at play as you're making?
Well, I think everything we do, I think that there's, emotion involved, but I'm trying to make the best decision for the team. And, again, we can sit here and look and say, well, we didn't get it. We didn't pick up the fourth down. Our foot was across the line. We had a penalty. We missed a kick. I just don't think that you have the luxury to do that, nor do you want to. You got to make a decision and get the players a call, one that they know and they're confident in and that they can execute.
What's the biggest difference between you guys last year and through 5 games this year?
I would have no idea. I would not even want to attempt that. All I'm trying to do is get guys in here today at 12:30 and find out about the health of the football team, make corrections, get it fixed, and find a way to beat Denver. And that's all I can tell you about this year and last year. I just would not even want to even consider that.
A lot of deep balls downfield yesterday for you guys. Does it make it more difficult when there's a lot of pressure on the quarterback to get some of those deep passes off?
I mean, come on, you're better than that. Is it hard to throw the ball deep when they're rushing the passer? Yes. And his short answer, yes.
Did you see that, I guess, yesterday?
Well, I mean, I think that this is, coming in, we had a lot of respect for their defense. And the consistency's there. When you get off to, when you rep a play all week and you hit it early in the game and there's a penalty, that drive ended pretty quickly, 1st and 20 to 1st and 25 to, whenever Brett's ready to send him out there to punt. So, we'll continue to try to find opportunities down the field to try to have Corey and AJ and Tajay and really whoever to be able to make those plays down the field.
Looking back at the penalties from yesterday, what did you think about them as a whole from the team discipline-wise, and specifically Marcus on the beyond the line of scrimmage when you saw it on film? Did you think they got it right?
So I got to answer the discipline of our team, and then I got to evaluate the officiating. Okay, just trying to figure that out. I think we have done a better job of understanding what they're looking for. And the crew yesterday, their calls were offensive holding and unnecessary roughness. And so we said, this is what these guys have been calling. They've been calling offensive hold. If they see hands around the back, especially on the 8-yard line, they're going to call it. We knew that they're going to protect the quarterbacks in this league, whether we dive over the pile, whether we make contact with them, that's going to get called. Like, that's what these guys have called. And then whether his foot was across the line, I don't know. I know that there's a guy that stands on the line and has to look over there and see if every body part has crossed that line. That's the call that he made, and that's what they did. So I'm not going to argue about the officiating. I'm going to just say that's what he saw. We had the luxury of replay, and it stood. So that's where we're at with that.
As far as the offensive line's concerned, for the last 2 years since you've been the coach, it's been inconsistent. And you change guys out, bring in a big free agent, draft somebody relatively high. You've got an all-pro or a Pro Bowl left tackle, a guy who was an all-pro at right tackle, and the line still seems to struggle. Where are you with Keith Carter and the job that he has done and is doing with the offensive line?
Very confident. Very confident. I would say that, I have a luxury of watching a 19-year-old son play offensive line. And the head coach there is an offensive line coach. He's got a line coach. At the end of the day, they got to line up, they got to know who to block, and they got to block their guy. So we know who to block, and if we don't know, and if we're not teaching them, and they say, Coach, I didn't know what to do on this play, then we'd have a problem. But, we have to sit there and block our guy. It becomes a lot of one-on-one matchups in this league, and that's why it's great, because you kind of find out the receivers and a DB. It's one-on-one matchups. It's an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman. It's a linebacker and a running back. And those are great things to have. And you go out there and you got to win more of those one-on-one matchups than you lose.
So the protection issues are primarily individuals not doing their jobs more than anything else, the protection issues?
Well, I think if you look at, there was 2 times we threw hot, which the quarterback knows when he's hot. You know, if we go empty and they blitz a guy, you know, we're going to throw hot. And so I think we have to make sure, like, what that to me is not a protection issue. That's the quarterback knows he's hot and he's throwing it hot and he's going to try to throw it there. And we got to make sure that we catch it and be at distance for the first down. When we, have games or twists, obviously it's 2 guys working in tandem. So it's not always just one-on-one. It's 2 guys having to work together to pick up, the picks and the games that they're doing. Then there's other times where it's one-on-one. Then there's other times where, it's protected. And we have to, get rid of the football and throw it to the guy that's open. And then there's other times where we have to get open quicker. So, again, there's a lot of things that just go into it's just the offensive line or it's just this guy.
How do you keep frustration from sitting in on the defensive side of the ball when maybe the other side is not carrying its weight some weeks?
Because that's what defensive players do. You line up and play defense wherever the ball's at, and that's how you coach them. If it's on the 5-yard line, you run out there and you play defense. You find out if they love football and they care about their team. You keep coaching them because, it wasn't like it was all perfect over there. It wasn't the 85 Bears for 60 minutes either. But, again, as long as they're playing with great effort and they understand that they go out and play defense wherever the ball is, under whatever circumstance, keep getting turnovers, keep looking for opportunities to hammer the ball out, tip the ball at the line of scrimmage, get an interception, show them that if you get a turnover, it can lead to points like it did yesterday.
Humphreys was brought in to help out from that perspective.
I'm sorry, Teron, can you go back?
Humphreys was brought in to help out, help Marcus, especially on those 3rd downs. What's your assessment of his contribution through up to this point?
It's been pretty good when we've been able to be in those 3rd and mediums, those 3rd and 6 or less, where we can throw it to them underneath. But yesterday I think it would have been better. There were some drops. I guess the equivalent of an offensive lineman not getting their block would be the equivalent of a wide receiver dropping a football, right? I mean, that's probably a fair assessment. So we have to do better in that regard to continue to help the entire passing offense.
You said to Teron's question earlier, you're aware of the analytics on some of that stuff. Do you have analytics guy or guys in the building that you talk to through the week that set things, that give you information that you draw on?
I think we have a group of guys. We have guys upstairs that help us through scouting when they're not working during the draft. They help us with numbers. Obviously, that's part of my job and Stretch's job is to be able to handle those numbers and understand, what we want to do each week as the game, comes down to those critical situations, whether it be the clock, whether it be timeouts, making decisions.
But you don't have dedicated analytics people per se?
I think that you could call them analytics, you could call them assistant coaches, you could call them regional areas. There's a lot of different titles that you could have for guys that, are able to take numbers and say, well, if we go for it here, we have a 50% chance of making it. If we don't, there's a lot of different numbers that if you go for it on the 5-yard line on 4th and 1, that's worth, 3.5 points. So you're supposed to go for it because if you don't get it, your offense is going to get it on a short field and come back. So, we're aware of what those numbers are, yes.
Do you feel like Delaney Walker needs to be more involved in the offense?
I think we all need to be more involved. And so, however that shakes out, by getting open, by catching the ball, everybody out there needs to be more involved. I think that's going to be the message. Not just Delaney, not just Marcus, not just AJ, not just Tajay, all of them.
Is Delaney's reduction in snaps over the last few weeks due to game flow, or is there something else at work there?
No, I think that's just where we're at right now with Delaney and his role being in 3rd down, 11 personnel, 2-minute, sprinkle him in there on 12, try to get going on 13, and each week we're going to try to probably have a role for each and every guy.
Taylor's in a bit of a spat with Shaq Lawson something like that the day after a loss?
What I care about is fixing the mistakes and moving forward. So I apologize. I haven't been up to date on the Twitter beef.
Last one.
I'm sorry?
Expecting Wake back full go this week, or?
I'll meet with Todd here in 8 minutes. So
But Mike, what would you say to the fans who, when you were hired, it was about raising the bar and raising the level, and see the inconsistencies and want to throw their hands up and say, this is the same old Titans? What would you say to those fans?
that we're working tirelessly to improve this football team each and every day. That when I come to work, to the detriment of my family, I think about this team when I'm here, when I'm not here, that we're going to improve. That our goal is to improve every day, to put guys in positions, to coach these guys, to let them be in position to help the team and play with great effort, play with great fundamentals, but most importantly, win. Thanks.